4134.
I think it's time to
Morning,
load
approach, USA 1169 out of 10.8.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's
Tower, American 557 pass.
American 557, Phoenix Tower, runway 26, winds 199er at 2, clear to land.
Clear to land 26, American 557.
Okay, flight heading 300, go to roll flight with
American 557, left turn on Bravo on 26 at April.
Think this is all a video game? Think again. This happens hundreds of times a day, and it's all thanks to pilots, and more importantly, the air traffic controllers that tell them where to go.
A staple of modern society is being able to travel anywhere you want to in the world in a matter of hours. This is possible with airports, like this one in Mesa, the Gateway Airport. It houses hundreds of planes and hundreds of pilots willing to take you anywhere in the world in a matter of hours. But the unsung heroes are air traffic controllers, the people cooped up in that tower there, directing traffics all around here, where to land, where to take off, where to taxi. Without them, planes would be crashing into one another. They'd be flying blind. We wouldn't know what to do. Those are the real pilots of the air.
Come on, fly with me. Let's take off.
Every day, more than 7,500 aircraft crowd into Britain's skies, carrying more than 500,000 passengers from every corner of this little green planet. These are the GPS traces of every single plane entering British airspace over 24 hours. And they're all following their own secret motorway system up in the sky. Strictly laid out routes that run north and south up and down the country, and out over Europe and the Atlantic. And dotted around the country, there are stacking systems, roundabouts in the sky, where they circle waiting to land at one of our 7 major airports. There are gaps in the aircraft traces all over the UK, areas closed off to air traffic because far below there are secret military installations, or even high-security prisons.
Once I get you up there, where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide.
I understand it. It's a very fast-paced job.
It can be, yes. But like any other job, there's more routine to it than people think. I mean, I think people picture air traffic controllers, they think of pushing 10 and they think of the movie Ground Control, but you know, there's more routine to it than people think. There are slow periods. We're not sitting on the edge of our seats reacting to what's in front of us.
Right.
You know, we're 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of what's going on. And so it's not as intense as it was even 20 years ago, I don't think.
I think the biggest question I have is, how do I get into the field? Because you don't have to go through an accredited school. As long as you have job experience and you pass the FAA exam, you can go to Oklahoma and they can give you government training.
That's still true, and that's how I got in. There's a couple of different hiring avenues that the FAA utilizes. One of their primary avenues is called VRA, Veteran Something Act, and they hire a lot of controllers that come out of the service. Air traffic controllers in the armed forces are enlisted, so they usually go in for 4 years, and they come out and they already have a lot of practical experience, and they're hired like through another path. Somebody that doesn't go that way, there are times when they will advertise and they will hire people off the street, which is how I got hired. You basically have to go and periodically look and see if they have job bids out and apply online through however they tell you to do it online. And then if you do get hired, then they do send you to the academy no matter what the hiring process is, whether you're a VRA or whether you're off the street.
So when you were hired, was it just someone over the telephone saying that you had a job?
Yep.
Or, oh really?
Yep. I applied. I scored high on the test. They said, okay, come to Kansas City and get your medical. And then they also do a very thorough security. If you've had a DUI, they probably won't hire you. You've got to really be clean as a whistle to get hired.
I've heard that the pay is not exactly a by-hour type of thing.
Well, the pay really varies depending on what facility you go to. If you work at downtown Kansas City, you know, you're not going to make as much as if you work at O'Hare. The pay levels, the facilities, their levels like 5 through 12 being the busiest and 5 being the slowest. And it's based on your traffic counts. And the pay scales are higher at the higher level facilities. What often happens, though, especially in the terminal environment, is you may get hired into a level 5, 6, 7 tower, and then once you're there for a few years, then you'll bid out to a level 9, and then you'll end up maybe, you know, at a busier. They don't normally hire somebody and send them to, you know, Atlanta Hartsfield.
Okay, and that actually does lead me to another question is, since it's a government job and it's not a single corporation in Phoenix, can you apply for a transfer?
Yeah, there's internal procedures for that. There's different ways you can do that. Sometimes you can swap with people. Sometimes they'll have a need at a tower and they'll put a bid out that's for, you know, FAA employees only.
Okay. So do people find themselves staying in ground control, or do they normally move up to a tower? Can you?
No, you have to move up.
Oh, you do have to.
Yeah,
move up.
the goal is to be a CPC at your whatever facility you're sent to. As soon as you're done with flight data training and you pass that part of it and you work it for a while, then you'll start training on ground, and then they'll give you a check ride or whatever, a skills check. They call them different things at different places, but they'll certify you on that position after you've trained and you've shown that you can do a good job.
The recurrent ground school, what is it, the policy for an air traffic controller?
No, they have what's called refresher training, and once a month they send us up into a little computer lab, and we sign on and we do little computer-based instruction that's supposed to be refresher. It's actually pretty worthless. Why do you need refresher training on something you do every day?
So there are a lot of different opportunities to try out while you're an air traffic controller. You can be a supervisor, you can be there's a lot of movement.
Yes, if you want to do that. If you want to try something new, and for me, sometimes I get bored, you know, doing the same thing and want to go try something different. Now, I've done a lot of different things besides work airplanes. I was a supervisor for a while. I was an instructor down at the academy for a few years. I went off on kind of a management tangent for about 5 years, but I came back in 2004. I went back to the boards at Kansas City Center, so I've been working airplanes full-time again since '04.
Okay. So how fast-paced is a normal day for you?
Well, I'm lucky it's pretty fast because, you know, when you have a busy day at any job, the day goes by quicker, and you usually get more job satisfaction from doing things than just sitting there doing, you know, more routine tasks. The summer months are definitely the busiest from May through about September because of thunderstorm season.
What exactly is the pension?
God, my retirement plan is called FERS, F-E-R-S, and it is so complicated. Part of it is Social Security, and part of it is a pension, but the bulk of it is called a Thrift Savings Plan, or your TSP, and that's basically 401k. So what the downside of this job is, okay? Stress, it doesn't come from the source that you think it comes from. Working traffic is fun. It's immediate gratification. When you take a week off, somebody does your job for you. You don't come back to a pile of work. You don't spend time trying to catch up or spend a lot of time trying to get ready to go on vacation. But the stress comes from labor management relation problems because we're union, and We have some managers that try to treat people like blue-collar workers, and we're not. Some of that has improved with the Obama administration, but we still have a ways to go on that. Shift work. You work nights, weekends, holidays. Good luck getting Christmas off. You're going to miss a lot of family time. If it's a blizzard outside in the Midwest and you've got the midnight shift, you have to get in your car and you have to drive in that blizzard and get there for your midnight shift. No ifs, ands, and buts. That is stressful to me, having a safety-related position that you can't just, it's not a desk job where you can pick up and say, hey, the roads are bad, I'm working from home today. Typically, our schedule is a 2-2-1. We'll work 2 evenings, 2 day shifts, and then a midnight shift. So I'll have like a 3 to 11 on my first day back, then I'll 2 to 10, and then I have to be back in at 8, and then the 4th day I'll work like a 7 to 3 or a 6 to 2, but then that 5th day I get off work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got to be back at 10 o'clock at night and work till 6 a.m. And I think those two things combined is stressful enough that I know that the divorce rate is very high in this profession. And believe it or not, the suicide rate has gotten high in this profession as well. So it's not working the airplanes, though. That's the fun part.
So then, really, what you've been saying is understanding patience and determination are really the most important characteristics a person needs to go into this job.
Oh, that is really true. You have to study hard. You have to have a lot of attention to detail. You have to be able to multitask, and you have to be able to remember a whole lot of information for a short period of time. But you get good training, you practice, you get better, just like you do with anything that you do every day.
Yeah.
And the gratification of sitting there and taking a big mess and choreographing it and making it something pretty. Nobody's there to pat you on the back, but you know when you did a good job, and it feels good. There's a lot of satisfaction that goes with it.